You think you understand what pornography is doing to you, but the truth is, most people don't. Not really, because what you've been told about it is usually extreme. It's destroying your brain, or it's completely harmless. And the reality? It's far more complex and far more personal than that. So before you make another assumption, before you decide it's good or bad, you need to understand what's actually happening beneath the surface. Because this isn't just about what you watch, it's about how your mind responds, how your habits are shaped, and how your relationships quietly evolve over time. Hello, I'm Dr. Elena Hart, Sexual Health and Wellness, and today we're going deeper than opinions. We're breaking down the psychology, the science, and the real-life impact of pornography, so you can finally understand what it's doing to you, without fear, without shame, and without confusion. Because once you see this clearly, you'll never look at it the same way again. Let's start with something most people skip entirely. Why do people actually watch pornography? And no, it's not just about desire. That's the surface-level answer. But underneath that, there are layers. Some obvious, some surprisingly emotional. Yes, sexual pleasure is one reason. That's the easy one. But there's also curiosity, the desire to explore, to understand, to experience something new without risk. Then there's fantasy, escaping into scenarios that don't exist in real life. And for many people, it's something even quieter. Boredom. You're alone. You have nothing to do. And your brain reaches for stimulation. But here's where it gets more interesting. Some people don't use it for pleasure at all. They use it to escape something. Stress, anxiety, loneliness, emotional discomfort they don't know how to process. And this is where the line starts to blur between casual use and something that begins to feel harder to control, because when something becomes your way of coping, it slowly becomes your default, not because you consciously choose it, but because your brain learns, this makes me feel better, even if it's temporary. Now let's go deeper. What actually happens in your brain when you watch it? Because this part matters more than people think. When you see sexual content, your brain activates its reward system, the same system responsible for pleasure from food, from connection, from achievement. It releases dopamine, and dopamine isn't just about pleasure, it's about anticipation. It teaches your brain, this is worth coming back to. But here's the detail most people don't hear. The response from pornography is not as strong as real human connection, not even close. Physical intimacy, emotional closeness, actual touch activates your brain on a deeper level, which means something important. Pornography doesn't replace real connection, but if used in certain ways, it can start to compete with it, and that's where problems can begin. Now let's clear something up. A question people argue about constantly. Is pornography addictive? And the honest answer is, not in the way substances are. Your brain responds to it, but that doesn't automatically mean addiction. Most people use it without losing control. They can stop, they can adjust, they can live their lives normally. But some people do struggle, and when they do, it's rarely just about the content itself. It's about patterns, habits, emotional dependence, and sometimes something deeper they haven't addressed. Now let's talk about something most people don't expect. The benefits. Yes, there are some, and ignoring them doesn't help anyone. For some people, pornography can increase comfort with sexuality. It can reduce shame. It can open conversations between partners. Some couples even report feeling closer, more connected, more open when they explore it together. It can also be a way to understand your own body, your preferences, your responses, and for people without access to a partner, it can provide a safe outlet, a way to release tension, reduce stress, and even improve sleep. So no, it's not purely negative, but that doesn't mean it's risk-free either. Because now we need to talk about the other side, the part that quietly affects people, without them realizing it at first. Over time, your brain adapts. It gets used to patterns, specific types of stimulation, specific visuals, specific routines. And when that happens, something subtle begins to shift. Real-life experiences can feel less intense, less stimulating, less exciting. Not because they are, but because your brain has been conditioned differently. Some people notice it in small ways. It takes longer to feel aroused. They need more stimulation. They start relying on imagination tied to what they've watched. Others notice it in relationships. Less interest, less connection, more distraction. And here's the important part. This doesn't happen to everyone, but when it does, it's not random. It's patterned. There's also something even deeper, something emotional, and most people don't talk about it. Shame. Not from the act itself, but from the conflict around it. When your behavior doesn't align with your values, your brain creates tension. You feel discomfort, guilt, confusion, and that tension can create a cycle. You feel bad, you seek relief, you return to the same behavior, and then feel worse again, over and over. And eventually, it's not about pleasure anymore, it's about escape. Now let's bring this into relationships, because this is where things become very real. For some couples, pornography changes nothing. For others, it improves communication. But for some, it creates distance. Not because of the content, but because of secrecy, avoidance, lack of conversation. When one partner feels disconnected or replaced or misunderstood, that's when problems begin. And interestingly, it's not about how much someone watches. It's about how aligned both people are. When both partners understand each other, there's less conflict. When they don't, even small differences feel bigger. Now here's the part that matters most. How do you know if it's becoming a problem? Not based on what others say, but based on your own experience. Ask yourself this: are you using it out of habit or intention? Are you choosing it or defaulting to it? Is it replacing something in your life or just existing alongside it? Are you in control or does it feel automatic? And the biggest one, is it affecting your real-life connection with yourself or with others? Because that's the line. Not frequency, not judgment, impact. So what can you actually do about it? Not extremes, not fear-based decisions, but real, practical awareness. Start by understanding your triggers. When do you turn to it? Stress, boredom, loneliness? Because once you know that, you can choose something different, not forcefully, but consciously. Then look at your patterns, not just how often, but how. Is it intentional or mindless? And if you're in a relationship, talk about it openly, without defensiveness, without shame, because silence creates more damage than the behavior itself. And finally, align it with your values, not someone else's, not the internet's, yours, because what feels balanced for one person might not feel right for another. And that's okay. Here's the truth most people avoid. Pornography itself is not the problem. How you relate to it is. It can be a tool, it can be neutral, it can be beneficial, or it can become something you rely on without realizing it. And the difference? Awareness. So don't rush to label it. Don't rush to judge it. Instead, understand it. Observe your behavior. Pay attention to your mind. Because once you become aware, you don't need strict rules. You don't need fear. You make better decisions naturally. I'm Dr. Elena Hart. And if this made you see things differently, then you're already ahead of most people. Because the goal isn't control. It's clarity. And once you have that, everything changes.